dissatisfaction, but the question is who could be better. Who will back Boehner and who won't? This could be a crucial showdown tomorrow. And out front tonight, someone who's going to make the decision, Republican Congressman James Lankford of Oklahoma. All right, well, good to see you, sir. You know, new Congress is sworn in tomorrow. You're going to be the chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee. You'll be the 5th ranking Republican in the House. You are in leadership. But as you just heard Dana lay out, John Boehner could lose the speakership just because of the way the math works if just 17 Republicans vote against him. Do you support John Boehner?
I do, actually, and I just walked out of that meeting that she had just referenced, that Dana just mentioned, and say it was an internal procedural. We're setting up the rules for the House, starting for the 113th House. There was absolutely no conversation at all of any type about a lack of support for John Boehner.
So let me just understand why that is, though, because in the recent key moments of leadership, John Boehner has not been able to deliver, right? There was the Plan B right before Christmas that he was going to put out, and he couldn't even get that to the floor for his own party. And then in the fiscal cliff deal, he was the guy doing the negotiating and wasn't able to get it done, and Senator McConnell had to step in and do it. So if John Boehner couldn't get that done, why is he going to be Speaker?
Okay, well, here's the challenge of it. The House actually passed sequestration documents in May, and we passed our tax documents in August, and then we went through the process. The mistake that was made, and Speaker Boehner has even mentioned it, is saying we're waiting on the Senate to respond. He shouldn't have done face-to-face negotiations, try to get this and get us out of what we call regular order. The best way to accomplish a piece of legislation is the House to pass something, the Senate to pass something, and then we work on a compromise together between the two. That breaks down when the Speaker goes and begins to meet with the President, or there's some other negotiation, or quite frankly, when you get down to the last 36 hours and you're trying to cram something in. So it's much better to be able to push it, and the Speaker has come out publicly and said, I'm going to focus on trying to get us back to regular order and stop doing these face-to-face negotiations that are outside of our normal system.
One of the things, though, that makes a speaker credible and powerful and able to push forward your party's agenda is all of you, the other leadership, the rank and file, falling behind him at tough moments. The fiscal cliff bill that was just put out, you said you support John Boehner, but you voted against that bill that he brought to the floor. So in a sense, people like you are the ones eroding his leadership.
Here's the difference between Speaker Boehner and possibly other speakers that might have been there in the past. He doesn't demand absolute unanimity behind him. He starts with, you represent your district. You have to vote your district. You have to represent your district. You have to do that in the best wisdom that you have from coming out of your district. He doesn't demand unanimity behind him. He demands that we represent the people that elected us and then come here and let's get things done. And some people, that completely throws them off. And they want to see this strong leader that demands everyone follows behind him. He's comfortable enough to be able to say, I didn't elect you. The people at home elected you. You represent them.
Part of the problem with that, though, I mean, isn't it? I mean, you as an elected leader must experience this all the time. If you just did what your constituents wanted, you know, sometimes constituents, people like me, we're like kids, right? We want candy. We want tax cuts. We want more spending. That's what we want. That's what the fiscal cliff bill does. I know you voted against it, but isn't the whole point that sometimes as a member of Congress you don't necessarily vote for what your constituents think they want? You vote for what you think is best for the country.
That is absolutely correct, but it's still going to be based on the wisdom that's coming out of your own district. You're still going to listen to not just the advice from your district, but also the collective common sense that's coming out of that as well. You should do your research. I should know more about this bill than anyone back home. I have more access to more data and more information here than people back home do. But at the end of the day, I still represent what's going on back home. But you're right. That demands you're a leader. There are going to be times, and I have taken votes that have taken a lot of heat back home for how I took that vote. But in reality, I knew more about what was going there because I was able to get more data here than I was there. So, again, the Speaker's comfortable with that, and that's a wise leader, I think.
Congressman, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And, of course, that vote tomorrow for John Boehner.